Hi, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to Ask This Old House, where we'll go anywhere to answer your home improvement questions.
This is a beautiful looking kitchen, but in the winter, it's an icebox. So I'm going to show you how to install a radiant floor heating system under this wood floor.
I'm going to show you how to get those perfect corners when working with drywall.
I'll show you the right way and wrong way to use your wheelbarrow.
And we'll ask, what is it? There's a lot coming up today, so stick around. Ralph's kitchen remodel started out pretty small.
Our cooktop broke, and we had to replace it. And you know how one thing leads to another. We always wanted a different countertop. We added cabinets under the island for storage space. I built out a pantry over here. We thought about everything, but there's one thing we didn't think about, which was heat.
Richard has a solution to add heat to this kitchen that's silent, comfortable, and won't disrupt any of Ralph's hard work.
The kitchen is always one of the hardest rooms in the house to heat, and yours is no different. You've covered every single outside wall, every single inside wall with kitchen cabinets. There's never any space underneath for heating output. You got an island here. There's a fireplace obscuring that wall over here. So this is a really popular choice that people pick, which is a kick space heater. You can see it right here. Now, I brought one along to understand how they work. Now, you've got a boiler down in the basement. You've got radiators in the rest of the house, and so we've got heated water that we can send through this pipe right here, and you can see it goes back and forth through a coil. Now, there's 110 volts that's supplied to it, and there's a little fan in here. And when the thermostat comes on, it spins this fan, pulls air in from the room, across the hot water heating coil, and heats the air. It's a pretty popular choice in kitchens. Is this thing working?
It tries, but it really can't keep up. And it's so noisy, we often turn it off.
So not enough heat and too noisy.
That's right.
That's a common complaint, but I got to tell you, if they're properly installed, they can heat the room and they can be quiet. But now you've got a challenge here. Look at this. You've got nothing but glass over here, a lot of heat loss in this room. It'd be great if we could actually run some heat underneath this bench seat and put some heat back in the room this way.
But does that really work? Because I think the foundation is right here, and you're on the other side of the foundation.
So the original house ended here, so we really couldn't do that without a lot of construction work. Now we could find a place for a radiator maybe somewhere right here on the side of this.
I'm not sure that's going to work for me. We're sitting over here. I'm not sure I can start a radiator. Yeah.
Anytime I can, I love to use the floor as a radiator. Put radiant floor heating underneath the floor. And that heats the people and the objects. Now, normally we would put it in while you're doing the remodel, but that's a little too late for us. Our only choice is to look underneath and retrofit the radiant from below.
Great.
I'll show you. So down here in the basement, we are underneath your kitchen. Now, there's some reference points to know where we are. Here's the drain from the kitchen sink. So I know the kitchen sink sits right here. Here is the gas pipe to the stove that's in the island. So I know the island is right above my head right here. And this is the base of the fireplace. So this is your kitchen.
So this must be that foundation wall with the bay.
Right. There's a bay window just outboard right here. So what we want to do is take PEX tubing. It's a super plastic, and we're going to run warm water through it. We're going to snap that tubing up into this aluminum transfer plate right there. You see it? So now we take the heat that's in the water and we conduct it to this transfer plate, and that conducts up into the underside of the subfloor. So for us, we want to put these tracks attached to the underside of the subfloor like this. That's good, Evan. Now, this is a big job, so I brought along the best guy I could find. So I had my son, Evan.
How you doing? Now I'm using a 1-inch sheetrock screw to attach the transfer plates.
All right? Now that's not an unimportant detail. You don't want the screws to be too long and have them actually come through the finished floor. So you can see Evan's now putting the second row of tracks beginning, and you want them to be about 8 inches on center. A joist bay is 14 inches on center, so we're going to put them on each edge. And once they're attached, we're going to run tubing down each bay in a loop. Now, while he's doing this, we can get started in another bay.
Great.
Now, Ralph, it's very important that the transfer plates are flush with the subfloor. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out these screws sticking down. We can also use this rotary tool to cut off the screws.
Well, here in the mechanical room, this is not exactly the newest appliance in your house.
You're being kind.
This is a gas-fired cast iron boiler. Heated water leaves through this big pipe right here, and it goes out to a series of zones. There's 6 of them in total. One of them right here goes out to your kitchen. Now, this boiler goes up to 180, maybe 200 degrees, and that's way too much temperature for a radiant system. So we need to step that water temperature down. So what we always have used is some version of this, a mixing valve. Boiler water comes through the mixing valve. A circulator pump pushes that water through a manifold. The water goes down through the radiant tubing, might go through those plates, and it gives up its heat to the floor. And that means this water temperature cools. Now, the cooler water continues back, goes back through the mixing valve, but it doesn't all go back to the boiler. Some of it comes back here to mix and leave a lower water temperature at the radiant than at the boiler.
Okay.
Now, the best way to control a radiant system is to have some sort of weather responsive control. That means there's a mixing valve actuator or a motor, a weather responsive control, and an outdoor sensor. And that means that it knows how cold it is outside. On a really cold day, you might end up with 130 or 140 degree water. But most of the heating season, it might only be 100 degrees, all right?
That's a lot of work.
Well, you think it is. It's a fair amount of piping and wiring. Let me show you something that's pretty cool. This is a unit that combines these components into one. This has a circulator pump, a mixing valve, a weather responsive control, and an outdoor sensor, all in one. It's simple to wire and simple to pipe. Going to make our job a lot easier.
Seems great.
All right, transfer plates look great. Now we got to drill our holes through the joist so we can feed our tubing. Normally we're going to go 2 inches down and 2 inches off the beam because there's no chance of hitting nails. And what we use is this. It's a self-feeding bit and a 1/2 inch right angle drill. That's the best tool to get up inside there. Go for it. Okay, so I have secured the manifold to the wall using a couple of masonry screws. Now this manifold is really important to us. Now instead of running one loop under the entire kitchen, I'm actually going to have 2 loops. One supply and return that goes to this half of the kitchen on this side of the island, another one over here on that side of the island. Those tubes will all feed back to the manifold, and we can adjust the flow to either one of those loops right here. Okay. So now this is a decoiler, and this is our tubing right here. Why don't you come on this side? All right. Now this decoiler is going to be really handy for us to be able to weave the tubing. So now you can see that it tips this way. And when I need to, I'll need you to feed it, but also to take the twist out of it. All right, here we go. Okay. So now I want to take the tubing and pull it. Keep feeding it to me, Ralph.
Okay.
Okay. Now I create a loop like this. Keep feeding to me. Keep feeding to me. Keep feeding to me. Okay, now I'm going to weave the next one. Evan, come grab this next one, please. And now the key for us is to advance the tubing on each of these loops until I get enough to pull that first loop all the way down the bag. Okay, keep coming to me. Feed me. Not around the pipe. Good. Okay. So now give us slack, Ralph.
Okay.
Okay. Take a little slack from me there, yeah. Good. Let's feed that back. All the way right here. Come here. A little more, please. Keep coming. Okay. Let's just leave that there. Now, we have to advance this last loop. Let's start feeding again, boys. Okay. Yeah. Take this. Okay, so let's just review. We have 3 joist bays on this loop, and we have 3 loops in those bays. We've anchored the supply tubing back here at the manifold. Now we need to pull this farthest loop away from the coil all the way down and snap that tubing up into the track.
A little more, a little more, a little more. You got it.
Okay, that should do it.
PEX is all done. How's it going in here?
All right, good. I got everything sorted here. Supply comes from the boiler, right on the top here, down into the side. Return goes back to the boiler right here. And here's our supply and return out to the manifolds. This is all done. Last thing is outdoor sensor. You can do the outside part. I'll do the inside.
It's important to mount the outdoor sensor on the north side of the house to get the accurate temperature reading. Now I'm ready to mount the box and wire it.
Hey guys, nice job running the PEX and those transfer plates. Looks great. Wasn't quite as easy as I said, right?
Wasn't that bad.
Good job. Thanks, Evan. Now, while you guys were doing that, I needed to supply the manifold. So here is the original lines that came over to feed our kick space heater right here. So I've cut them off. I've tied onto those lines. You can see the supply and return coming down to the manifold right here. And I've got most of the PEX lines connected. I have one more to do. So to do that, we mark it with our thumb. This is a PEX cutter. We make sure we don't cut our thumb off. Now we're going to make the connection using a nut and a split barbed ferrule. That goes right over the outside of the tubing. Tubing goes down over this fitting, and we tighten it up, and as we do, it compresses that ferrule to the outside of the tube. Once we have it snugged up, we tighten it up with an adjustable open end. All right, one last thing for you to do, Ralph, is to insulate. We want to get at least fiberglass bed insulation like this into every single bay, and you can't insulate too much. The more we insulate, the more heat transfers up, all right? I'll leave that for you.
Makes sense.
For me, I have to actually fill the heating system and to purge all the air out, and once I do that, we'll be able to turn it on, you'll have a nice warm kitchen.
Really appreciate your help. All right, guys, here we go. It's actually battery operated. There's a solar collector to keep the battery charged, and it turns around. What is it?
All right, boys, this could be part of our energy future. I just saw this in one of the magazines I get, Renewable Energy Tomorrow Journal Today.
Sounds like a
It's
great
a good
one.
magazine.
Yeah.
It combines solar power with wind power. Solar comes down here. Let me just turn this off. Solar comes down here, collects, makes energy, electrical, spins this thing, sends wind up, which then brings solar back down, completing the cycle.
You must be in that book under wind power.
I hope you didn't subscribe for an entire year. Richard.
Yeah, this actually saved a whole group of professionals.
Which one?
The hypnotists. Remember? They used to have the watch, and they used to go, "You're getting sleepy."
Sure.
No one has a pocket watch anymore. They have a wristwatch.
Yeah.
Can you try hypnotize someone with that? Or a cell phone. Everyone uses that to tell time.
I think they have an app for that now.
Do they really? Well, for those who don't have the app, they have this. You simply turn it on, hold it up in front of the patient. You're getting sleepy. You are a duck. No, a duck.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Sorry, my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, obviously not the answer, Roger. This is a self-motivational tool.
Tell me more.
Oh yeah, every once in a while, you wake up a little blue and you're not that confident. Well, you take this on, you put it on, you look right there in the black mirror, and then you just repeat, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, lots of normal people have red hair.
Not so normal.
It's lying to you. Not even close. None of you, by the way. All right, this actually sits on a table or on a boat. It's a bird deterrent. When the sun comes out, the solar collector charges the battery, keeps it turning. You can extend these antennae here, and it'll keep the birds away.
But they will be motivated.
Guys, they like this.
Drywall is a common building material, and it's pretty easy to work with, but there are some tricks in making a nice, true, and straight corner. So, Tommy, you're going to show us how to properly finish an inside and an outside corner.
Right. The best way to start off is always try to make that corner as straight as possible using the drywall itself, but you still have to cover up this seam.
All right, so what do we typically cover it with?
Well, you could use some joint compound tape, basically tear it off the roll, fold it in half, make an outside corner that will fit on the wall like that. But the problem with doing this, it's not very strong, and it's also difficult to make.
And that's because it's just paper here. There is no reinforcement.
There's no reinforcement.
All right, so what do you like to use?
All right, so here's a piece of paper right here that is reinforced with metal inside. So you can take this, mud up the corner, push this in the wet mud, hold it in place, and then compound over that.
You can feel how rigid and strong
Yeah,
that
so
is.
now if you hit that with a piece of furniture or something like that, it's not going to ruin the corner.
All right.
They have the other options right here where there is a plastic piece, all right? It's perforated, so it'll sit right on the wall like that, nice and straight. Now you can put this on the wall a couple of different ways. You could mud up the corner, push it into the wet mud. You could actually put some nails in it if you're going to use a nail. This is a drywall nail right here. You can actually see the ring shanks on it that holds in the wood really well. Another way is contact cement. They have cement that you can spray on the back of that corner, on the drywall. You wait a few seconds for that to dry, and that will push right onto the corner, and that will actually glue right there.
Now, I've seen some of your guys on the job site use a heavy metal corner bead like this guy.
That's a drywall bead, and you can install this a couple of different ways. You can use a ring shank nail again into these, but you want to nail it about every 8 inches apart, or you can screw it with drywall screws, or you can cinch it on with this tool right here. This goes right on the corner like that, and you'd hit this with a hammer. When you hit it with a hammer, those little teeth come out right there, and they basically crimp or cinch this right onto the corner. So watch what happens when I hit it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can see how the metal is just pressed into the drywall, and that is on nice and securely.
It's not coming off.
So what do you say we actually mud that in and see how we really get that corner nice
All
and
right.
neat?
Let me have that trowel and hawk there.
So just pre-mixed joint compound?
Yep, pre-mixed. I'll lay it on my hawk. It's very important that the joint compound be kept clean. So whenever you get dry edges around the hawk or in your trowel, clean it off, wash it off. All right, so now what I want to do is get a good amount on there. I want to start back here and work my way to the corner. Start back here, work my way to the corner.
That little metal bead is actually 1/8 of an inch proud of this drywall, so you're filling in a gap.
I'm filling in that gap, that's right. So I'm laying it right on there, nice and thick. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go after the excess. I want to hold this corner of the trowel against the wall and the other one on the outside corner. Okay, clean off my knife, clean up the excess. I'm not going to play with it anymore. I'm going to go do this side. Same thing. Put it on heavy, pull it out. Get a little bit of the excess off. I'm going to do the same thing. Just pull it right down, all the way down to the bottom. Okay? Now, go back to this corner. Just check it lightly. Clean out the excess. And I'm going to leave it alone until it sets up. Once the first coat dries, we're going to switch to a wider knife. We're going to use a wider knife because we want to bridge the gap. You can actually see the dip in the wall from the outside corner to the wall itself. You don't want to fill that all at once because it would be too much compound, and the compound could crack overnight.
So a second coat with the wire knife and maybe even a third?
That's right.
All right, what do you say we turn this around and we can work on an inside corner?
Sounds good.
Spin this around and voila, an inside corner.
Very nice. All right, now there's a few options that we have. Most common is to take a roll of drywall tape, fold it in half, and actually put it right in the corner just like that, embed it in a wet bed of joint compound.
And whereas you wouldn't use just the tape on an outside corner, on an inside corner, this one's going to get banged and beat up.
That's right. All you're looking to do is fill that joint. Now you could use this one right here. This can be used both inside and outside. It's metal reinforced. It just depends on which way I fold it. It goes like this. I'm going to hide the metal, push it right into the inside corner like that.
And if you folded it the other way, that would be an outside corner.
That's right.
And this one?
That's one that's already bent up for an inside corner. You just place it in the corner like that, again, into wet joint compound. Okay, now what I want is nice and thick in the corner. Now I'm going to put some on the other corner of my knife like that. I'm going to push it right into the corner like that.
So you're setting up a bed to set our corner bead into.
That's right. And I want to make sure that this bed is nice and clean and neat. I want you to take that bead and push it right into the wet joint compound. Nice and firm with your fingers. Okay, that's good. Now what you want to do is you want to get this pushed right into that wet compound right away. Because if the paper hits dry, any dry surface, it's not going to stick. Right down. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to put another layer right over the tape. So lay right on to make the tape disappear. Okay, now I'm going to run another one down the other side. Building it right inside the inside corner like that. And the trick is to make sure I feather this edge right down to zero. So I'm pushing really hard on this side of the knife. That will feather the joint compound right into the corner. Bring it right down. All right, now you notice that the corner is pretty uneven inside. Now I can smooth that right up using a different trowel. This is an inside corner trowel. I take it and I put it in the inside corner, equal pressure, right down the center of the knife. I drag it right up the wall in the corner. And my corner is clean, and I have compound on both sides of the knife.
And look how perfect that corner is, Tommy. Nice job.
Thanks. Once in a while, you get lucky.
Roger, I don't think I've ever seen you on a job without at least one wheelbarrow working.
Well, for us, it's one of the most important but simplest tools we have. But there are a few tips you need to know when you're using it. Most of them have a rubber tire with a tube on the front that you inflate this to about 30 psi. The other ones have a solid rubber tire on them that never goes flat.
So why not use a tire that will never go flat?
When you run this tire with air in it, you get a little absorption as you go along. When you use this, you feel every bump all the way.
All right, so keep them inflated.
Yep. Now you notice that this one has a grease fitting on it. It is very important to keep these greased. You've heard squeaky wheelbarrow before. Well, that means the bearings are dry in here, and sooner or later they'll fail. So it's important to keep it greased.
And if you don't have a grease fitting, a can of lubricating oil will do the trick.
Well, 3-in-1 oil works.
Okay.
Now, one of the first mistakes people make is parking the wheelbarrow across the slope and then loading it. All it takes is one good shovelful,
Oh,
and over she goes.
all right. Let me get that up for you.
All right.
Nothing wrong with loading it on a hill. You just have to position it properly.
Exactly. Now, if you bring that up, see, that's the way most people will put the wheelbarrow. Now they're going to load it, and it's going to get real heavy. They got to back it up and then go off to do their work. What I like to do with it light, empty, just put it in a position like this, load it up, and then we're good to go.
So just point it in the direction of your exit.
Yep. Now we just load the wheelbarrow up and go straight to the work. Now, Kevin, how you load the wheelbarrow is important, too. Here you have all this block stacked way back in the wheelbarrow. Now lift up on that.
Feels like a ton of cinder blocks.
That's because it is a ton of cinder blocks. But watch this. I'm going to transfer the weight forward so it's over the wheel. Now try lifting it up.
Feels like half a ton of cinder blocks.
A little better, huh?
Yeah.
Now, when you're lifting a weight like this, you got to remember two things. Straight back and straight arms, and lift with your legs.
All right, Roger, great tips. Thank you very much. So if you've got any heavy lifting around the house, let us know because we're here to help. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor
And I'm Roger Cook.
for Ask This Old House.
Come on, let's go to work. This
I'll-
way.
I'll get this. Jeez, don't worry about me.
Next time on Ask This Old House.
If you're working in the yard, you're going to be digging holes, and I'm going to show you just the right tools. This is what we use on our crew. And if you put this in the ground, you hit a root or a rock, you can simply wedge it right out of the ground without breaking the handle.
And I'm going to show you how to keep this wall-to-wall carpet firmly attached to a staircase.
And I'm headed to California to replace this old fixture with some high-efficiency recessed lights.
That's next time on Ask This Old House. If you have a question about your house or a tip you'd like to share, please let us know. Visit our website, pbs.org, for expert advice, step-by-step videos, and much more. This Old House magazine, the companion to the television series, provides advice from our experts that you've come to know. You can use your credit card to order 10 monthly issues for $10 by calling 1-800-221-5900.